"The cake isn't for you," my nephew jeered, his small hand tipping a glass of soda across my lap. The liquid seeped into my dress, sticky and cold. He shouted loud enough for the candles to flicker. "Grandma says you don't belong here." The table roared with laughter. My brother smirked, my father looked away, and my mother pretended not to hear. The only sound louder than their mockery was the fizzing of soda dripping onto the tiled floor. I dabbed at my dress with a napkin, each stroke slower than the last, a practiced grace disguising the sting. I smiled, even chuckled, because that's what they expected. Silence wrapped in a grin. Have you ever had family cross your boundaries? Let me know in the comments. The room smelled of frosting and smoke from the birthday candles, but under it all was something sour, betrayal, fresh and raw. I wanted to shout, to stand up and storm out, but I stayed seated, staring at the glimmering knife beside the untouched cake. My silence was not weakness. It was storage. Later that night, I sat at my desk, the loan document spread before me. My signature, inked months ago to help my brother, seemed to mock me now. With a stroke of my pen, I pulled my name from their future. By morning, his car was gone, and at 8 a.m., sharp as a verdict, a knock rattled my door. I rose, hand trembling on the knob, and whispered, "This is where it begins." The knock wasn't hurried. It was deliberate. 3 firm taps that carried through the hallway like a judge's gavel. My breath caught, the sound of dripping soda still echoing in my memory. When I opened the door, the morning light bled in, outlining a man in a crisp suit. He held a leather folder tucked beneath his arm, his expression calm but edged. "Ms. Carter?" he asked, voice steady, professional. "Yes," I replied, my throat dry. He extended a card. A debt collector, or rather, the face of truth arriving earlier than expected. My brother's name was written in bold across the papers he carried. Mine, once beside it, had vanished with the stroke of my pen the night before. I watched his eyes skim the page, then meet mine again. "He thought you'd cover him," the man said almost with pity. "Now he'll need to answer for himself." Behind him, the street was strangely still. A lone bird pecked at the asphalt. Somewhere a dog barked, short and sharp. The world had shrunk to this doorway, this moment. I thought of the laughter at the table, of soda running down my legs like an accusation. My nephew's words, "You don't belong here," still pierced deeper than any paper cut. "Do you need me to sign anything?" I asked. The man shook his head. "No, ma'am. You've already signed your freedom." As he left his folder under his arm, I leaned against the doorframe and realized my revenge had begun in ink, not in fire. The silence after he left was heavier than his presence. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the faint coffee ring staining the wood. It looked like a loop, endless, unbroken, the way my family's cruelty had always felt. But this time the loop was cracking. My phone buzzed across the table, rattling against the mug. A message from my brother lit the screen. "Car's gone. You signed off, didn't you? You selfish witch." My chest tightened, but instead of pain I felt an odd release, like a rope finally slipping from my neck. I didn't reply. Let silence gnaw at him. From the kitchen window, I could see the neighbors' wind chimes swinging without wind, the clinking soft, metallic, almost mocking. I let the sound seep into me. For once, the world was on my side, whispering, "Stay still, stay strong." Then came another text. This one from my mother. "Why would you hurt your brother like this? You know he has a family. Don't embarrass us further." The irony made me laugh. Embarrass them? After soda dripping from my lap while they laughed? After my nephew's shrill humiliation turned into a family performance? I placed the phone face down, its vibration continuing like a trapped insect. The screen glowed through the wood grain, persistent, but I refused to touch it. For years, they'd expected me to be their safety net. That morning, for the first time, I realized nets can strangle, too. By noon, the phone had gone quiet, not because they'd stopped, but because I'd turned it off. The silence wasn't peace, though. It was the kind that hums, the kind that makes every creak in the house feel amplified. I drifted into the living room, where the photo wall loomed. Smiling faces framed in cheap wood. Birthdays, holidays, graduations. My brothers, children front and center. Me, always on the edge, cropped by shadows. I reached up, touched the glass of one frame, and for the first time noticed a hairline crack running through it, right across my own face. It felt like proof the universe was watching. The doorbell rang, sharper than the morning knock. I froze. Through the peephole, I saw her. My mother, lips pressed tight, eyes narrowed. She clutched her purse like it was armor. I opened the door just enough for her perfume to spill in. Roses mixed with something metallic, a scent that always made me dizzy as a child. "You went too far," she snapped, not waiting to be invited in. "Do you understand what you've done? Your brother can't go to work, can't take his kids to school. People will talk." Her words piled like bricks, heavy and relentless. But beneath them, I heard something else, not just anger. Fear. I looked past her at the empty driveway where his car used to sit. And for the first time in years, I thought, maybe it was their turn to explain themselves. She stepped inside without asking, her heels clicking against my floor like tiny hammers. I didn't move to stop her, let her wander through the silence she had built. "You think this makes you strong?" she hissed, setting her purse down with a thud. "You've shamed us. Your father won't even look at you." Her words twisted, sharp, but I caught the tremor hiding beneath. I noticed how her hands clutched the strap tighter, as though she feared it might slip away. "I didn't shame us," I said softly. "I just stopped paying for the performance." Her eyes flashed. Performance? The word hung between us like smoke. I gestured toward the photo wall, the cracked glass glinting in the afternoon light. Every smile in those frames, paid for by me. Every loan, every bailout, every car. That was my ink, my silence. And all it bought me was a child pouring soda on my lap while the table laughed. She faltered, just for a second. Her mouth opened, then closed again, her rehearsed scolding interrupted. "Do you still wear that perfume?" I asked suddenly, cutting through her pause. She blinked, startled. The question was out of place, a decoy, but it landed. She straightened her spine, clutching the purse again, as if I'd exposed more than her scent. "You've made a mistake," she whispered finally, voice thinner now. But the crack in her tone told me the truth. It wasn't my mistake she feared. It was the end of her control. That night, the house felt different, like it had exhaled. My mother's perfume still lingered in the air, faint but stubborn, clinging to the curtains. I lit a single lamp and let the shadows stretch long across the walls, the cracked photo glinting in the dim glow. My phone, abandoned on the counter, blinked alive again when I finally powered it on. Dozens of messages flooded in. My brother's rants blurred into a wall of insults, my father's silence broken only by one cold line. "Family means sacrifice. You've forgotten that." I stared at the words until they blurred, then scrolled further. Buried between their fury was a message from my nephew, the same boy who had poured soda in my lap. Just 3 words, misspelled and raw. Grandma was wrong. I sat there, phone trembling in my hand. A child's voice, unpolished, cracked open the polished cruelty of the adults. It was a fracture line, small but real. I thought of the soda glass toppling, the sticky stain spreading like a bruise. And I thought of the loan paper, crisp and clean, my signature erased. 2 images pressed together, the mess they left me in, and the order I reclaimed. The wind outside rattled the chimes again, their sound thin and metallic. For the first time, I didn't hear mockery. I heard a warning bell. Revenge wasn't fire, I realized. Revenge was quiet, like ink drying, like glass cracking, like a child whispering the truth no one else dared. The following morning, I walked past the photo wall again. The crack across my face caught the light, sharper now, as if it had deepened overnight. I traced it with my fingertip, the glass cool, unyielding. A mirror of me, fractured but still whole. The knock came softer this time. Not the collector. Not my mother. When I opened the door, it was my aunt, her eyes darting nervously, as though she feared being seen here. "I shouldn't be," she whispered, stepping inside quickly. But I had to. Her hands clutched a folded paper, edges bent from being hidden too long. She pressed it into mine, another copy of the loan agreement, but this one with a note scribbled in my brother's handwriting. "She'll cover me. She always does." My chest tightened. Proof. Not assumption. Not imagination. Proof of how they scripted me into their safety net, without permission, without care. My aunt's voice broke the silence. "He bragged about it, you know. Said you'd never walk away. Said you needed them too much." I almost laughed. Needed them? The only thing I had ever needed was freedom. And it had taken one signature to find it. "Why are you showing me this?" I asked. Her eyes softened. "Because someone in this family deserves to finally win." Her words settled in the room like dust, quiet, but impossible to sweep away. And in that moment, I knew the final crack was already forming. By the end of the week, the silence had shifted. No more knocks. No more messages flooding my phone. Just the echo of their unraveling, carried through neighbors' whispers and fragments of news. My brother's car repossessed, his job questioned, his pride shrinking in public view. I sat at the kitchen table again, the same place I had once signed away my freedom. This time, the loan copy my aunt delivered lay before me. His scrawl, "She'll cover me." She always does, underlined in cruel confidence. I slid it into a folder and closed it gently. Proof, not for revenge anymore, but for protection. When my mother finally called, her voice was smaller. We didn't think you'd go this far." "I didn't," I replied. "You did. I just stopped catching you." There was no shouting, no final explosion. Only silence at the other end of the line, the weight of accountability pressing where excuses used to live. I rose and faced the photo wall one last time. The cracked glass still split my face, but instead of weakness, I saw release. I unhooked the frame, set it down, and let the fracture gleam in the lamplight like a scar, permanent but no longer painful. Revenge hadn't been the car disappearing or the panic in their messages. It was this: clarity, boundaries, the quiet power of saying no. I opened the window, let the wind stir the curtains, and whispered to myself,